Dear family and friends, I'm beginning the next phase of my writing of my new book and our first collaboration, The Manual, subtitled The Path of First Class Black and African American Citizens. It will be a departure from my previous writing topics about cancer, and I'll focus on the most fundamental aspects of race relations and nationality, that being identity. It seems obvious to me that by publicly reestablishing the identity of Black and African Americans for the benefit of Black and African Americans themselves and for others who have an interest in civil, cooperative, and prosperous world, we can create an organic swell, a path to peaceful coexistence that is also the first successful installation of a permanent unification of the Black and African American population in the US. The manual has a single purpose: to establish a public identity for Blacks and African Americans, a recognized public identity. There are three intended impacts of that single purpose. They are, for Blacks and African Americans, the manual will provide a common sense, a common language, a common behavior, in a way that is still flexible in consideration of the vast array of variants, tangents, and differences that exist among us, this complex and talented nation of people. For Blacks and African Americans, a second impact would be to serve as the first step in creating national, self-sustaining systems of education, banking, finance, public service, and healthcare, including caring for children and the elderly, without government assistance. The last impact for non-Blacks or non-African Americans, the manual is intended to be a public process and demonstration so that onlookers too can learn and educate themselves on the nature and intent of Black and African Americans, so that as non-Blacks or non-African Americans encounter their more familiar brethren preaching patriotism, while instead undermining collaboration and unity within our already great nation, through the manual, people can arm themselves with education and knowledge and become less vulnerable to the primitive instincts and the fear-mongering and other ignorant approaches that create war and division between people of different backgrounds. Drafts of the manual will be published regularly, and subsequent drafts will come out featuring results from research and surveys we conduct. If you keep up, you will not have to read a large book all at once. Instead, you can just learn the principles as we go along writing this book together. This is how it works. Over the foreseeable future, I'll begin writing the manual with your help and that of 48 elders. I will elaborate on the elders in a moment. The sections will be action sections, things the Black and African American will educate themselves on and subscribe to based on their understanding. The sections will cover all aspects of life characterized by the following segments: political action, spiritual and religious freedom, economic action, environmental action, social responsibility, and scientific recognition. I'm asking you to be involved in the production of the manual. But of course, I cannot consider every comment of every person in turn. So I've constructed the following with your input and that of the 48 elders. I can craft the rules of engagement, the true core of the manual. As the rules are adopted by more and more of us, I will initiate the systems network. Finally, as the rules are adopted, and the systems grow, we should be seeing the following. This is the result. This is what I expect to achieve by writing this what I think important book. A more unified nation of Black and African Americans around a common set of ideals. I expect to see more opportunities for economic growth within the Black and African American community. It's organic. I'll explain later. I expect to see an expanded access of education for Blacks and African Americans, more opportunities for economic growth within the Black and African American community, longer financial cycle circulation within the community, i.e., how long the money you spend stays within communities of interest, your community. I expect to see improved conditions of the Bay, the Black and African American neighborhoods. Also, I expect to see enhanced ability to police and protect our own people. I expect an enhanced political leverage. And there's so much more I can continue to explain. But the point is, there's a lot of benefits that come from producing such a product. And with your help, we'll get it done. Concluding, this is not that deep, but it is very important. Should anyone feel compelled to criticize, remember you have a chance to participate. I'm not trying to rewrite the works of Claude Anderson or Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, or anyone else, but I'm trying to synthesize the aggregate of information we know, including those authors and those activists, to help us execute a sustainable plan, doing the same thing that every other nation has done before and is doing today. And you all have a say. Just visit www.adcnph.org, adcnph.org, and you can submit what you want to say directly to me. Remember, as Americans, we do not need permission to build the world we deserve. Join our community leaders in writing our healthy, sustainable practices so that our children and their children can enjoy the fruits of a unified nation of Blacks and African Americans.